Hello, my name is Dennis and I wanted to talk to you about reducing costs for AI inference. As you may know, there are a lot of different AI models right now. Some are local, some are hosted in the cloud, and all of them are different. There are ways, there are different providers, but specifically I wanted to give you an overview and share the methods that I'm using in production and that I don't believe a lot of people know about. So some of you may know about OpenRouter. It's a service that allows you to use different AI models with a single interface. It also has some other different features, but it generally makes working with neural networks and LLMs easier. So as you can see in search, you see there's a lot of different models which are sorted by the date of release. And a recent one is Qwen 3.8 27B, the one that I'm kind of excited about. The other one that I like is DeepSeek V4 Pro. However, as you may know, there is DeepSeek V4 Flash. The previous version, 0423, which means it was released in April, it was very good price to performance wise. And so right now they've just released DeepSeek V4 Pro and DeepSeek V4 Flash recent versions. So like not in April. This one is in end of July, and this one is just 5 days from now, the 13th of August. Anyway, with that they also hiked the price up. As you can see on official DeepSeek page, with the official release of the DeepSeek V4 model family, we'll update and adjust API pricing. Yada yada yada. The new prices will take effect at 16 hours on August 16th, 2026. So as you can see, the price hike already happened, and I can tell you that it changed the economics of running this model quite a lot. Let's check it out. So previously, the input and output price was like so, around 7 cents for input and 17 cents per output, million tokens. Right now, it's a little bit different for the newer version. As you can see, it's a little bit more expensive, but it still has this 44% off. So what I wanted to talk to you about is first that you can actually run a local model, and I can recommend artificialanalysis.ai, which has actually all the information, at least most of it, on how you can use the local models or smaller models efficiently to solve the same tasks that you would use expensive Fable 5 for. You can actually use DeepSeek Pro at a fraction of the cost and still get the same job done. It depends on your task as well, but in general, after you've established that something works, you can try and optimize it, reduce the cost by using a smaller and cheaper model. But also, and this is the main topic that I wanted to talk to you about, is you can actually choose a different provider. If you're using OpenRouter, you can see there are a lot of different providers. The main thing that you want to look at is input and output costs, but also the uptime, the throughput, and the latency. Another metric that I don't see here, and also you may want to calculate it, is how well your prompts will be cached. I found that in my experience, the cache or the caching of prompts is wildly different across different providers. So, for example, Venice caches the prompts differently from Parasail, and even though it's pretty much the same cost and the throughput is lower, Actually, I prefer Venice to Parasail specifically due to the caching properties of my prompts. I found that, for example, if you have a large input prompt and a very small output result, basically, you can have up to 3 times the price difference. Uh, the price difference. So that means that the same amount of work can be 3 times cheaper on one provider than on another one. And that not only depends on the input and output prices here, but also on the uptime, because as you can see, some providers have quite a low uptime, and also how well they do cache, and that depends on them, basically. You have to measure and validate. Also, you can see there are Nitro and Exacto providers, which you should also take into account, and it depends on your workload. For me, standard works most of the time. So basically, if I'm using DeepSeek V4 Flash with the wrong provider, I could as well be using DeepSeek V4 731 with the right provider and have more intelligence, better quality at the same or lower cost. Also, it depends, of course, if you need low latency and high throughput, maybe you need to tweak for those, but basically take a look at that, and I think you will find that for some of the use cases, choosing the right provider or a pool of providers, of course, because some of them don't provide and don't support some of the features that OpenRouter has. For example, I've had issues with JSON objects and structured outputs. And so you have to check provider by provider based on your workload. In addition to changing the model, it may be as important or even more important to use the right provider for the right model. Also, I suggest that you may check if DeepSeek Pro, for example, can replace some of the more pricier models for you. And in particular, I've heard that Qwen 3.8 27B is on par with Opus 4.6. You can see the score on artificialanalysis.ai is quite high. It scores just below GPT 5.6 Luna on max settings, and it's way cheaper, and you can even run it on your Mac. You can see that this guy says that you can run it on $3,000 of hardware. So basically, I guess that means that we are entering the era of local intelligence, but in the meantime, while you're using models in the cloud, you have to be smart about it and check out the discounts as well. Gemini 3.7 Flash is 50% off right now. I don't know if you're using it. In the end, I think it's good if you're using it for some kind of fast workloads. You need the throughput. It's very good in terms of throughput. But in general, I guess DeepSeek V4 will get you most of the way, and it will be much cheaper. Thank you very much for watching the video. Like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more in-depth practical experience that I actually gather while running these models in production on my own. Bye.